All right, so if you haven't seen the other video on the Integra, we did the axle and we finished the oil leak on the distributor. We got that done. It's not leaking any more oil. And we got the coolant leak fixed, so that's done. It's not leaking any more trans fluid. We took it out last night, did a drive, ran good. So now we just got to do the intake manifold right here, and I have the thermal gasket right here. This is the thermal gasket that you can put on there, and we got to do the stud extenders on that. There are right here. So we got to put these on for the B18 C1, B16 A2, B16 B16A. So this is the extended stud kit for those, and I actually be 10 studs instead of bolts. So if you can see on the last video I showed, this one right here, you can see that it's barely on there and there's no stud sticking out right there. So we got to do that. So what we got to do, I started taking off the air cleaner, the cold air intake. I started taking that off, and then I took the breather off right here. So I took that off. So what we got to do is take off the brake booster here, the IVAC right there, idle air control valve, unhook the throttle position sensor and the map sensor, unhook the throttle body cable here. We got to take these two nuts out here, take the fuel rail off, unplug this one right here for the fuel pressure regulator, and then we got to unplug all the fuel injectors here. We can take those off, take the fuel rail out with the fuel injectors, those four right there, and then we'll be able to get to the bolts right down here. We already took off the strut bar that went from here across there, so we already took that off. All right, well, my GoPro died, so it's on the charge. So I started taking off the fuel rail right here. I took the injectors off of there, the fuel injectors. Got the fuel rail off of there, got it bungeed up so it'll sit like this. So you can see that there's a little bit of gasoline right here, and I don't want it pouring down all over the place. So right here is the IAT sensor, so we can just push this down like that. I got everything unhooked right there. Throttle cable is unhooked, everything is unhooked there. Throttle position sensor, cable, map sensor is good. That's all done. So what we're going to do next is we got to pull the coolant line right there on this side. This one right here, got to pull that one off there, and then the one that goes this way. So we're gonna have to pull that off there too and get that out of the way. Maybe not. I'm hoping that it doesn't make a mess when I pull this off of here. But you can see right now, you can see better that the stud's not all the way out there, and this one's barely in there, and that one's in there a little bit, and then we had to use a bolt here, and there's one missing right underneath there. There's one missing, so we're gonna have to put the extended stud kit in there, which I have right there, and there's the thermal gasket right there. So we're gonna end up putting that on, and then we got to get the studs out. So I think that's pretty much everything connected to here besides the IVAC back there. I don't want to disconnect all that if I don't have to. I might just pull it off enough to where I can get in there, get the studs out, put the studs in, and then put it back. I don't want to take it all the way out because it's not necessary. So, all right, well, I'll be back. I'm gonna get some bolts or some sockets and some nuts and or whatever, wrenches for all this, to find out what size these all are, and then I'll be right back. All right, so you can hear the coolant draining now. I got all the bolts off up here, all the bolts and the nuts up here, those ones that we used there. So I got those all off of there. I'm just gonna let it drain a little bit. So I gotta take off the over here, the flathead screwdriver. I gotta pull the coolant return right here, pull this off of here so I can actually pull the manifold back right here. So I'm gonna have to get this one right there. Yep, that one right there. I'm gonna have to loosen that up so I can pull this hose off of here, and then I'll probably just cut this one, bypass this one right here, bypass that one right there, and then take this one right here and then just hook it up to here and just bypass the coolant in the throttle body. Hopefully that'll cool it off a little bit, and it won't be so much of a hot air going in from the coolant thing. So, all right, I'm gonna do this real quick, get this done, get this off of here, and then we'll be able to pull this out, and then we'll get the studs out, and then we'll replace them, get it back on there, and then button everything back up. All right, so you can see the other studs. As I turn the camera a little bit, you can see the extended studs down here. You see how much further they're out. So I got that one put in, I got that one put in, I got that one down there put in right there. You can see right there how much longer they are. So then when we put this gasket on here, this one right here, it'll actually fit like that. All right, so I got all the old studs out like there and there. So there should be 10 studs when you're done. So I'm getting ready to put these back in there. So these should be your studs right here, and they should have a little Allen key hole right there. So you just thread these in like this, get those in there. Just thread it in as much as you can first. You don't want to use that all the way, and then use your Allen key, that fit in there, just snug it like that. So when you're done, you should have, like I said, make sure that that hole goes out like this and the flat part goes in. So another one right here, put this one in, tighten that one down. Just do it by hand all the way like that. Stick your Allen key in there and just give it a turn. They should be in there. Let's finish up doing these. Like I said, you should have 10. So we'll do this one over here, put this one in, thread that in there, put that in there, and it should have about a half a turn, just snug. You don't want to crank on it and end up stripping the end of the stud out. Because if you ever need to change any of these, we'll do this back one here, and then we should have 10, and then we can put our thermal gasket on, which is a lot thicker than the normal gasket, which is really like paper thin. So I think it was this one. Yeah, it's this one. See, it's about a half a turn, so we're good. Just double check, make sure your studs are tight. Make sure your studs are tight, and this one wasn't tight, so I just got to tighten it down. Just make sure that it's all tight, good to go. I think this one's good. Yeah, that one's good. That one's good. This one's good. And then you won't have any bolts to put in here, so we should be good. Then after you're done, you'll just fill up your coolant again, because it'll drain a little bit of the coolant out. Just make sure that they're tight like that. Okay, so they're all tight. So you should have 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So you got 10 there. So that's all good to go. Just gotta find the thermal gasket. So this is the paper gasket, the one that you get from Velcro. You can see how flimsy it is. See how flimsy it is. And then the other one. All right, so here's the thermal gasket. We got this from Skunk2, so you can order this for a B series, B18, C1, C5, same thing. So make sure your coolant hole right there is lined up with your coolant hole right there. So just make sure that's lined up. It pretty much only goes on one way. So you should be able to see how it goes on here. And then just put your holes, line your holes up like that. And then you should have 10 studs, just like I said. So make sure you get it on here. You might have to stretch it just a little bit. It's kind kind of cold outside. Just stretch it out just a little bit. Just make sure that it goes on. Make sure it's on all your holes there, and then just kind of push, just like that. And there you go. There's your thermal gasket and all your 10 extended studs there. So next, what I got to do is get a clamp for this one right here, your PCV valve, so that comes out your block right there, and then comes into your PVC canister, and then I got to do that. Once I get that done, I've got to tighten up this clamp right here. I can see that the hose is not straight, so I got to take this off, cut this, and just put that back on there. Tighten this one up, and we should be good as far as the coolant leak. And then we'll repin this one into the IVAC right here, idle air control valve. So we'll take off the connector, we'll put this back in there. I might put some RTV on here, get that in there. And then other than that, we should be good to go. So I'll get this done, and then we'll install the intake, and then we'll put all the nuts right here. There should be 10 of them right here. I reuse the other one to back out the studs. So what you do is you just take one of those, and you can back it out or turn it on there, and then you turn it on there, but you turn it inside out. So you don't want the flange going this way, you want the flange going this way, so you have two flanges going together, both the nuts. And tighten it up with a wrench and a socket, and then take the second nut and then just back it out, and that's how the studs all came out. So they're all good to go. So we should get enough clearance. Once we put this on there, you can tell that this is a lot thicker of a material right here where the stud goes through versus the old GSR intake. So all right, well, I'm gonna get this done real quick, and then we'll button this all back up, put the fuel injectors on. The other fuel injectors are right there, so I just gotta put that on there, and then we'll see if it sounds better, see if we got no ticking noises. All right, so everything's done. Put all the fuel injectors back in there, clipped them up, put the fuel rail back on, throttle cable's on, it's all bolted up there. PCV valve right here goes through the intake, that's on. Got our breather on, fuel pressure regulator right here, that's hooked up. Got this blocked off. Fuel for the brake booster, that's on. Map sensor, TPS sensor, we'll go the other side. Check all that kind of stuff, just double check everything. So I got some white vacuum caps for the throttle body, so I'm gonna bypass the throttle body for now, see what it sounds like, see if it's any better. If not, then I'll just unhook this one to here, and then we'll hook the hose to there. But I got it teed off right there to the manifold, and that's all good, that's all tight, those are all tight, so I think everything is good. I think that's it. Everything's pretty much good to go here. So next we'll start it up, get some coolant in there. So I we'll run up to O'Reilly's, get some coolant, because it's all over the garage floor. Other than that, I think we're good to go. I think I need to put the thing on it, so we'll put that on there, and we'll drain the oil. Got some new oil for it. That down there needs to be zip tied, so I'll get a zip tie that, make sure that's all good to go. But other than that, I think we're good. So stay tuned. I'll be back, and we'll start it up and take it for a drive and see how she runs. All right, well, I started it up and I let it run, I let it warm up. We have no oil leaks, no coolant leaks, everything looks good. There's no fuel leaking back here from the fuel injectors. Everything's on, everything's tight, double checked everything, so I think we're good. We're gonna go take it for a test drive, but you'll have to catch that in the next video. All right, so if you like this video, you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram at JC Motor Garage. Please give us a big thumbs up. Stay tuned for the test drive for the Integra and see what else we can get into. Now we're gonna start the body work, paint, getting the interior buttoned up together, and getting this thing actually looking like a nice car. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time on JC Motor Garage.